أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حميم. تنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز الحكيم. Hamim. The revelation of the book is from Allah, the Mighty, the Wise. Inna fi as-samawati wal-ardi la-ayatin lil-mu'minin. Most surely in the heavens and the earth there are signs for the believers. وَفِي خَلْقٍ وَمَا يَبُثُّ مِن دَابَّةٍ آيَاتٌ لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. And in your creation and in what He spreads abroad of animals, there are signs for a people that are sure. واختلاف الليل والنهار وما أنزل الله من السماء من رزق فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وتصريف الرياح آيات لقوم يعقلون. And in the variation of the night and in what Allah and in the variation of the night and the day and in what Allah sends down of substance from the cloud, then gives life thereby to the earth after its death. And in the changing of the winds there are signs for a people who understand. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق فبأي حديث بعد الله وآياته يؤمنون. These are the communications of Allah which we recite to you with truth. Then in what announcement would they believe after Allah and His communications? وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ أَفَّاكٍ أَثِيمٍ. Woe to every sinful liar. يَسْمَعُ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ ثُمَّ يُصِرُّ مُسْتَكْبِرًا كَأَن لَّمْ يَسْمَعْهَا فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Who hears the communications of Allah recited to him, then persists proudly as though he had not heard them, so announce to him a painful punishment. وَإِذَا عَلِمَ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا شَيْئًا إِنَّ اتَّخَذَهَا هُزُوًا أُولَئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. And when he comes to know of any of our communications, he take it for a jest. These it is that shall have abasing chastisement. مِنْ وَرَائِهِمْ جَهَنَّمُ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُمْ مَا كَسَبُوا شَيْئًا وَلَا مَا اتَّخَذُوا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Before them is hell, and there shall not avail them aught of what they earned, nor those whom that took for guardians besides Allah, and they shall have a grievous punishment. هذا هدى والذين كفروا بآيات ربهم لهم عذاب من رجز أليم. This is guidance. And as for those who disbelieve in the communications of their Lord, they shall have a painful punishment on account of uncleanliness. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
For Muhammad وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
مولا مولا میرے مولا مولا میرے مولا 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 میرے مولا مولا میرے مولا مولا مولا. Allah is one, Panjatan Afai, Imams are 12, Masoom are 40. Allah is hai, Panjatan 5 hai, Imam 12 hai, Masoom 14 hai. Allah ek hai, Panjatan 5 hai, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. پہلے امام علی ہے لقب جن کا مرتضی. پہلے امام علی ہے لقب جن کا مرتضی. اور دوسرے حسن ہے لقب جن کا مصطفیٰ. اور تیسرے حسین شہنشاہ کربلا. ماں فاطمہ ہے جن کی لقب جن کا سیدہ. اللہ ایک ہے پنجتن 5 ہے, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. اللہ ایک ہے پنجتن 5 ہے, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. چوتھے امام علی ہے لقب زین العابدین. کہتے ہیں جن کو سید سجاد مومنین. اور ایک لقب ہے عابد بیمار و ذل حسین. سجدوں سے جن کو اب بھی منور ہے یہ زمین. اللہ ایک ہے پنجتن 5 ہے, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. اللہ ایک ہے پنجتن 5 ہے, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. محمد ہے جن کا نام باقر لقب سے جانتے ہیں ان کو خاص و عام. ہے علم میرے 5ویں آقا کو بھی تمام. ان کو سلام کرتے ہیں جبریل صبح و شام. اللہ ایک ہے پنجتن 5 ہے, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. اللہ ایک ہے پنجتن 5 ہے, امام 12 ہے معصوم 14 ہے. مومنوں کے جعفر صادق چھٹے امام, جن کا کلام لگتا ہے قرآن کا کلام. صادق امام کو تو ہے سچ بولنے سے کام, ہے فقہ جان 14 ہے 8ویں امام ہمارے علی رضا، جن کو امام ضامن و ضامن لقب ملا۔ روزے میں دل کے ایک ہے دروازہ شفا، ہوتی ہے ہر مریض کو صحت وعطا۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اپنے 9 امام لقب جن کا ہے جوار، کرتے ہیں جن کو نام محمد تقی سے یار۔ تقویٰ سے جن کا ہاتھ گئی قوم بدنہاد، سب نے سمجھ لیا کہ ہے کیا نام سے جہاد۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ 10ویں امام جن کا ہے اس میں جلی علی، اللہ کی طرف سے ملا ہے لقب نکی۔ صورت میں جن کا باپ کا تھا حسن منجلی، سیرت میں جن کا آئی نظر سیرت نبی۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ 11ویں امام حسن جن کا نام ہے، اور عسکری لقب ہے شاہ خاص و عام، یعنی خدائے فوج کا جو انتظام ہے، سب ان کے ہاتھ میں ہے، یہ ان کا مقام ہے۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اور 12ویں امام زمانے کے تاجدار، جو اپنے نام سے ہیں پیمبر کے یادگار۔ ایک وصف جو وصف خدا سے ہے ہم کنار، پردے میں ہے امام تو پردے میں کردگار۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ محمد کے لب پہ 12 اماموں کا جو بیان، میں اس بیان سے درمیاں رہتا ہوں شادمان۔ ہوتا ہے ذکر آقا کا میرا جہاں جہاں، مولا کے صدقے ذکر ہے وہاں، مولا کے صدقے ذکر ہے میرا وہاں وہاں۔ اللہ ایک ہے، پنج تن پانچ ہے، امام 12 ہے، معصوم 14 ہے۔ محمد وال محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم۔
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔ alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalam.
Brothers and sisters, today we are gathered here to share our experience regarding Islamic Awakening Conference held in Tehran, Iran on 29 and 30 January 2012. 9 members of the community, including me, participated in the conference, followed by the visit to the place of the holy importance like Qom, Nishapur, Mashhad. Apart from that place, we have some trips also, which we went to the exchange to visit to Isfahan and Astroya. And we would like to give you a brief structure of the presentation. I would now like to call upon Imran to give a pre and post of the conference discussion in Tehran.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
I will present you the pre and post conference activities. Mostly the meeting we had in the hotel where we stayed, and the conversation we had during our conference. So my presentation will be in 2 points. First of all, opening session, the first opening meeting, and the closing session of the meeting, the opening session. 27th January, that was the date, in Azadi Hotel, that was our hotel where we stayed, and it was led by Dr. Hederi and Dr. Jafri. Dr. Jafri is an Iranian who was the lead of the organization. The participants was especially the Asian countries, Malaysian, us, Indonesia, Thailand, India, Pakistan, and also from China. And there were also few students from Iran, Irani. There were also local Malaysian who studied there, and from Europe and Australia. So the objective of that meeting was to introduce to us what the Islamic Awakening was for, and what we can expect from that Islamic Awakening, and also to introduce the participants to know each other's sifat. We start the meeting with the Tilawat al-Quran. The ayats recited was in Surah Al-Jumu'ah ayat 3 to 5, and Surah Tawbah ayat 32 to 33. The specific ayats we're talking about was related to Islamic Awakening. Then Dr. Jafri had a speech. He started to thank all the participants to come in Iran, participate at that conference. Then his speech, I'll summarize it. He said that nearly 32 years after the Islamic Revolution in Iran, after projecting it, he was very happy to see all of us, like all the world almost, to come in Iran, and that was a big victory for them, a great victory, to see that all these people, different nationalities, come in Iran for one purpose, to speak about the future of Islam. And that was more great because it was mostly young people. Young who knows like they are the future of our religion. He also reminds to the participants the difficulties they had to protect that Islamic revolution. You know, against West, how it was hard to protect, to continue the Islamic revolution. And still, actually, Iran is fighting to protect their rights. But Iran did hold this protection of Islamic revolution alone. They managed to do it alone, and still it's the big example for the whole Arabic countries, Iranism. Then we had a question and answer session. We were invited to ask Dr. Dakri any question related to Islamic awakening. The first question was why young people born after the Islamic revolution did not follow the same path, did not respect the value of Islamic awakening. He said his answer was the media influence. Like the media are hiding the reality. He gave the example of Imam Khomeini. If you read books, Western books, you will know that Imam Khomeini inside is presented as a dictator. Like he imposed himself. But if you read the right books and you read the historical of Iran, you'll see that Imam Khomeini didn't anything. He let people choose, although they want Islamic revolution or not. They had a referendum election, democratic election, to choose it. And not only Muslim, Shia and Sunni, but also Christian choose for the Islamic revolution. Then the next question was the danger related to Islamic awakening. The first was leadership. As we know, in Arabic country, the awakening happening there, this problem is regarded to them, the leadership. Who can be the leader to this country? And the great example is again Iran. Like the Islamic revolution of Iran wouldn't be a success without the right leader. And the right leader was Imam Khomeini, and now actually Imam Khamenei. So the idea there was to choose the right leader in these Arabic countries. The next, the lack of education, Islamic and worldly. If we don't have education, if we don't know what we are fighting for, it's useless to fight for that point. So the education is very important. No concrete plan, that's also regarded to Iran. Like we have to follow the plan already existed in Syria. Then no presence of unity among Muslims. That we know, like even you can give example in Pakistan, in India, and everywhere that Shia and Sunni are fighting each other. They are saying we are the truth in the truth. No, the other says we are in the truth. We should be believe in one only. Like we are all Muslims and we are fighting for one purpose. The next point was the important role of women. Here again, the example of Europe and America was given. Like they said there, the women have freedom. They have more role and place in the society. And they said Islamic women have two duties: wear hijab and stay at home. But when we read Islamic history, we know that it's not true. In whole Islamic revolution happened in Islam history, the woman was in the first line. I have many examples, I will just give you a few. We have Bibi Khadija and Bibi Fatima Zahra alayha salam. Without their support, the Islamic mission of the Prophet won't be a success. We won't be Muslim without them. And again, Bibi Zainab, without her, we won't be Shia even. So, women are very important to bring us Islam here. And actually, we know that we saw in the conference, the women are going to study and they are taking fields like science, medicine. That shows like actually our women sisters, they are going very far, more than our boy brothers. So the next point in the media, as I said before, the influence of media, mostly about young people. The influence, we have to care about that to know the reality. The next point, the lack of proper Islamic economic system. As we know, Marxism, capitalism, they show their ends, their limits, and we have to know which system to follow now. So we know from our Masumin that the right system is Islamic economic system. So that was the idea. The Arabic countries who know the awakening, and the other countries also, that the best system will be this one. And also everyone knows the Wahhabism problem. It's still one of the biggest danger for Islamic awakening. The next part was introduction between the participants. as I said before, we encounter many students from different fields, from science, engineering, computer science, philosophy, law, and more. And also we met professionals in Islamic TV channel in Thailand, Indonesia, Kashmir, and Islamic magazines. There is, if you can Google it, Value magazine in Europe, Kosovo, and Indonesia. The closing session, it was our last meeting among the Asian country. Sorry. The class was still in Azadi Hotel, led by Dr. Hederi and Dr. Jaffrey. The participants, as I said, it was the same. The objective here was to learn what we learned from the conference we had, the 3 days conference. I let my brothers to explain you more about that. The resolution we taken from that conference, and we were invited to give critical suggestion for that meeting we had. Dr. Jaffrey had a speech again, an ending speech. He thanks again the participants coming in Iran and make a success of that conference. And the main resolution taken was, the first one was encourage youth for education. As I said before, education is the first point, the principal point to start. Then the second point was, in fact, create a system of a communication system between Muslims. And that project was given to our brother Said Tosif. The objective here is to create, I will say, an example of Facebook between our Muslims. That will give more unity between Muslims. And it will be also, we can put anything inside, like it will be an online library that everyone can read books from there, and we can share ideas. If you have any idea, it will be a great tool for us.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
I would like to say thank you to my brother Imran for giving his speech about the pre and post conference discussion. So
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
As Imran was saying, there are some countries that are facing problem and difficulty about Shia and Sunnah fighting together. And now, in our state right now, about last two weeks ago and last week, they're putting on television condemning about Shia on live television on TV1, local television here. They're putting condemning about Shia, and our local brothers over here, they are facing problem and difficulty right now, including me also. And my leader also, Ustaz Kamil Zahiri also. He's been sued for about 20 to 30,000 for practicing Shia around here. Okay, so now I would like to say, I would like to call upon Jishan to give his discussion about the trip to Asaluya.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام.
I'm here to talk about my visit to the city of Asaluya. First of all, I would like to tell you about the city itself, then I will tell you more about trip. So, Asaluya is known as one of the best towns for its land-based facilities. It is located on the shore of Persian Gulf and surrounded by parts of special economic energy zone. Asaluya is the closest land point to the largest natural gas field, which is known as South Pars gas field. From a group of 9 people, we were further divided into 3 groups, from which me and Hassan Bhai went to Asaluya. So there were approximately 200 more youths from all over the world with us. So we took a flight from Mehrabad Airport, Tehran, which took about 1.5 hour flight, and we reached Persian Gulf International Airport, which is near Asaluye. It's linked to a drive of 1 hour drive. So, and this airport is the second most advanced airport in Iran after Imam Khomeini Airport. On that airport, when we arrived there, Hassan Bhai was interviewed by the press TV. You can ask him about what he was asked. From the airport, we were taken to the conference center. There we had an introduction session. They explained us about the Pars Special Energy Economic Zone, and it was around 45 minutes introduction session. So what they told us about Pars was that Pars Special Economic Energy Zone. So there is the world's largest special economic zone for oil, gas and petrochemical industries, which is built upon 46,000 hectares of area. This zone is further divided into two smaller zones, Pars 1 and Pars 2. Pars 1 is made up of downstream petrochemical industry side and semi-heavy industries, and support bases is forts and residential areas. Pars 2 consists of upstream industry sites coupled with administrative and supports. In addition, Pars Special Economic Energy Zone also consists of maritime industries and Pars Port Complex, which is turned out to be the largest port in the Persian Gulf due to its features. After getting brief about all the industry side, we were boarded on the bus and they took us to the under construction refinery. We were not allowed to get off the bus. We were just looking around from the bus, and there were no cameras allowed. So they were giving briefings on the bus. After the visit to the under construction gas refineries, we came back to the conference hall where we prayed and had lunch. Then we were taken to the aromatic petrochemical plants and the Pars Port Complex. This was the best part of the trip. We just roamed around the shore and took some pictures. There were so many people. These were our friends from Canada, and one from Pakistan. Is from Pakistan. There was a big ship which was loading by the minerals and which was ready to depart for Sri Lanka. Then we boarded back on our buses, which took us to the Persian Gulf airport, and we reached Tehran after 2 hours. So the purpose of visit of the site, the reason why they took us to Asaluye and made us visit some of the industrial sites of Pars Special Economic Energy Zone was to make the youth of the world aware that Iran has a well-planned industry of oil and gas. And that their reserves can serve all of the Asia with these resources for the next 7 years or maybe more than that. This shows that their strength, only within 4 years they have developed, and these such industries, they have been successful in achieving more than their aim. And what they want from us is to contribute and support them so that no one other can compete them in the future. We can help them in the form of investments and human resources. I hope that my words were informative. Moreover, if you need any information about the investments and job opportunities in the Pars Special Economic Zone, I can help you, or you can Google it yourself.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Once again, thank you so much to our brother Dishon for his speech on the discussion about the trip to Asaluya. Now I would like to invite our brother Tausif for his speech about the trip to Milad Tower and the conference opening.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان audience, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, today what I will be talking about is our tour, which was on Friday. It included the visit to Asulaya. Actually, few of our members went to Asulaya, few of our members went to Isfahan, which will be covered by Shamil, and few of us got the chance to have a city tour of Tehran, including the trip to Milad Tower, trip to Imam Khomeini Shrine, and the metro train of the Tehran. So I will be covering the Milad Tower here. Okay. Okay. Milad Tower is also called as Burj Milad. It is the biggest multi-story structure in the world. Design and construction was purely done by Iranian engineers. The construction started from year 2000 and was completed in 2007, and the inauguration was done in 2008. Okay, the structure is same as that of the Kiel Tower, including the shafts and the pods, but it is a multi-story due to the fact that the pod contains 12 floors, and each floor is either a multi-purpose hall, a volume restaurant, a communication room, or anything else. The structure also comprises of 7 elevators, which can take the visitors at the rate of 7 meters per second speed. And the observation deck is at the height of 315 meters, offering the panoramic view of the entire city. This is the day and night view of the tower. Okay, the world's top 7 tallest towers. When we talk about tallest towers, it includes communication towers, not the tallest buildings like Burj Khalifa. So the Iranian rating is 6, which is, and the height from the base to the top of the antenna is 435 meters, followed by the Minara here in Malaysia. The first position occupied by Tokyo Skytree, which is like 334 meters high in Japan. This is how the Iranian tower stood between other towers in terms of statistical data. The highest one occupied by Tokyo Skytree, and the 6th rating was of Milad Tower. This is what the panoramic view from observation deck. We got this picture fortunately from the top view, and it's a very fascinating view. Okay, apart from the tower is actually a part of the convention center. There's a tower and there's a convention center which are equipped with facilities like Milad Telecommunication Tower. We have a 5-star hotel here. The visitors can stay there and can spend few time. Then we have a convention center. This is the same center where we were having the conference, conference which was held on 29th and 30th of January. Then we have a World Trade Center where trade and economic progress reports are there. Then we have an IT park where some R&D on different IT projects are done. Then we have a specialized library equipped with all latest tools. They all have laptops, LCD screens, and they have online access to every resource on Google or other parts of the internet. Then we have exhibition halls. This convention center also contains exhibition halls for exhibitions. It can be cultural exhibitions, agricultural exhibitions, scientific exhibitions. Then we have scientific unit also, and much more than that. Okay, these are some pictures of the convention center. The left top is the conference hall itself, where we have the conference, Islamic Awakening Conference. The right top is the one restaurant. The middle left is the convention center outside view. The middle right is a dome view. You know, we went to the observation deck of the tower, and this was the peak point. After that, there are some other floors also, but the access was restricted, and you are not allowed to go there. Then this is the telecommunication room. Thank you. Salaam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Okay. The Milad Tower trip was ended on Friday. Okay, here I will cover the actual conference, the inauguration, the opening sessions, actually the whole day trip, which was Saturday 29th Jan, starting from the opening of the conference. Okay, the conference inauguration. First, the videos from Arab Revolution were shown to us. It was followed by the tradition of Holy Quran, which was very fascinating to hear. Then The conference titled World Conference on Youth and Islamic Awakening was actually the annual celebration of Islamic Revolution in Iran, and which also marks the annual success of the revolution in Arab countries, starting from Tunisia, Egypt, and ending to Bahrain, Yemen, and Libya. More than 1,200 members from 73 different countries participated in the conference. This also includes 300 Iranian officials. Okay. The first speech was given by the chairman of the conference, Dr. Akbar Ali Vilayati. I will just give you a few points on the speech, what he quoted for you. The standing words were that the uprising in Arab countries have entered a new era. It's time to go for collective efforts and secure the rights of oppressors. He also added that this uprising is not new. It dated back years ago. He was mentioning the revolution in Iranian, which was like in 1980s. He also added that this uprising is not new. It dated back years ago, but we have first seen this massive uprising. The uprising, which was 30 years back, was comprising of only a single country. But this uprising, which started from Tunisia, Egypt, and ended to Bahrain, Yemen, and Egypt, which are still fighting their way. This is the massive uprising where we have seen the collective efforts from youth of more than 6 countries in total. Slogan of all protesters in Islamic world is they want that rights of common people should be secured. After the opening sentences from Dr. Akbar Ali Vilayati, we got the honor. We got the honor to meet Iranian President Ahmadinejad. The detailed speech will be covered by Shamir in the later part of the discussion. Okay, after the Ahmadinejad speech, there are some few speeches from the conference panel members. These are the names. These are the few names. Actually, there were I think 15 or 18 in total. I will just quote few of them so that you are not bored here. Okay, these were the few pictures which were taken in the hall. Actually, we were not allowed to take cameras, but Brother Umail managed to slip his camera from the security post, and he got the pictures over here. Okay, these are the important messages in the speeches. You can read it in the presentation. I will just quote a few of them for you. I will quote the speech by Ibrahim al-Jafri, ex-Prime Minister of Iraq. He said that anniversary of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, and holding of this conference is a blessing. Muslims strengthen the unity by teachings of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Shaheed is alive, not dead, and we should not become sad on the sacrifices. The sacrifices we are making today are the futures of youth. We have become victorious. The message was that the revolution took place and the dictators were brought down. This is a victory for us. But then what we should do? This is not to stop. What we should do is that we should continue the struggle and we should lay the foundation of Islamic rules and regulations in the society. This is the point where we should not forget our roles and duties, especially if we don't want any influence of West in our culture and society, if we want to succeed our revolution in the longer era also. Because if we don't do this, after 5 to 6 years, it will be starting dead. So he also added that slogans can change, but revolution is same in nature. Revolutionists' responsibility is to strengthen the unity. We should make efforts to save the sacrifices of our martyrs. Then he gave us some examples of martyrs to raise some emotions and to get the essence of the conference. He also added that in some countries, people have closed their eyes. They are following the propaganda that Palestinians are fake, but they are Americans who are not genuine. They came from different parts of countries, so forth and so on. Okay, after that we had a Zuhr break. We had a Zuhr break and we offered the prayers, and then we went back to the Azhari Hotel to have the lunch. We returned back to the convention center, which was actually in the Milad Tower, and the evening session was divided into 6 commissions. Starting from number 1, theoretical basis and improvement and progress factors of Islamic awakening. This was the commission 1. Islamic governance, models, results, and the youth. Methodology of Islamic awakening, threats and chances. The youth, Palestine resistance, and Islamic awakening. Followed by number 5, global origins, the US and Zionism confronted with Islamic awakening. And the last one, future outlook and horizons of Islamic awakening. Okay, the purpose of formation of these commissions was that the youth, the members from 73 different countries, the count was around 1200 something, were divided into some groups. Because the whole conference cannot be covered in a single day. So that they divided the groups, they divided the members into some groups so that they can attend the commissions and they can share their ideas, their beliefs, their concepts and get the speeches from different members of the society. After the commission report was over, this marks the day end. We offered the Maghriban prayer, we went back to the hotel, Azadi Hotel, we had that dinner and then we had a presentation session with Dr. Mohsin Zahedri, which was organizing which was the supervisor of the community members which came from Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. That's all. Now I would like to call the Abbas again for some salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you to our brother Tasif for his speech about the conference and the Milad Tower. Now I would like to call upon Shamir for his speech that he will talk and give the repetition of Ahmadinejad again.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu
وعليكم السلام.
My topic is to cover Ahmadinejad speech and I'll be talking about it. So, it was on the first session before lunch that he gave his speech. It was the 29th of January. He started his speech by praying to God for Imam Mehdi Zahoor. He thanked us for accepting his invitation for this conference and expressing our thoughts and ideas with this conference, and that our coming to this conference is historical. Almighty God has created the universe and created humans as to represent Him on earth. He created humans to be His reflection. The human must possess three qualities: passion, philosophy, and knowledge. Allah created humans to be His reflection on earth. Allah has created humans to substitute Himself on earth. Allah has created humans independent, free to do anything. And with this, humans with this freedom, they can live a peaceful life and they have their own choice. Without freedom, it would be impossible for us to recognize our own true goals. We must believe in the oneness of God. So when we believe in the oneness of God, we have our own power, and the oppressor, we can make him realize about it. As we believe in God, God will obviously help us. And then and the point is that the oppressor will never realize about his oppression until we make him realize about his mistakes. So that's what happened in Tunisia, Egypt, and most of the Arab states. That the people over there are trying to make their dictators realize that they are wrong and they need to step down, and hence most of them have achieved success. The message to all prophets was to worship the one and only Allah, maintain justice, and maintain love and compassion amongst the community. But then why are these gaps increasing between humans? So much money is being spent on arms. So much money is being spent on arms. Why? Because this socio-economic gap is increasing between our humans. One of Ahmadinejad's colleagues had traveled to a country in Europe. He didn't specify it, but he told us that it was a country in Europe. It was about 5 years ago, and Ahmadinejad was told by his colleague that I have a request
I have a request from the chief of the state of the European country. In the meeting, the colleague was instructed not to say or do anything against the Zionist regime. He was told that you're allowed to do anything, you're free to do anything, but not against the Zionist regime. They also came to Iran around several hundred years ago and created a gap between their community. These Zionist nations have also brought poverty and humiliation to every country that they went. You can see the example of Iraq, Afghanistan, and etc. These Western forces wanted to give Shah the power of the atomic power when the jails of Iran were filled with the democratic people. These Western forces are against democracy. That's why they are against Iran. In addition to faith, we must be against the Zionist regime. This was the message by Ahmadinejad. We must be against USA and its allies. How can democracy flourish in a country where there are only two parties? He's talking about USA right now. They only have two parties. So in every elections, they spend millions of dollars for elections, and the only thing is that they change colors. They can change colors, new people will come, and they just know how to play political games. The most ridiculous scene is that they have gathered in Iran to create more problems and divide their community. They will try to make differences amongst us, but we must be careful. God did not introduce any different religions. There was only one religion, that was Islam. All prophets were given the same message of peace. They have hidden, these Zionist countries have hidden the birthplaces of our beloved prophets as well. We must think of an alternative system as to what we can do against them. And I don't think that there is any other way than the Zahur of Imam Zaman. Inshallah, when the governance of Imam Zamana comes, then most of the problems will be solved, and inshallah we'll attain success. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I'd like to thank you, our brother Shamir, for giving his speech about Ahmadinejad's sayings. Now, on the day 30 January 2012 of the conference, in the morning, our ears were blessed to hear that we are going to meet the Rahbar Imam Ali Khamenei. We were very excited at the moment. We stepped out of the bus and we began to run to make our place in the first row. At the hall where Rahbar was about to give his speech. The environment was so electrifying, and Labbaik Allah Khamenei was the tasbih that day. To tell us more about the moments and the speech about Rahbar, I would like now to call upon our brother Hassan Wataj to give his speech.
هل من ناس فدائي
لبيك خامنائي
هل من ناس فدائي
لبيك خامنائي اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The Supreme Leader addressed the youth on the second day of the conference at his residence in the following words. He started with giving great tidings to the youth and said that when the youth are awake in a country, that hope for general awakening increases in that country. He said that this is the beginning of a new era, and humanity has crossed the materialistic barriers, and neither Marxism is appealing, nor is the Western liberal democracy. They are accepting defeat, and neither the secularism has any solution. The rising up of the Muslims is a prelude to the uprising against the tyrant, uprising against the global dictatorship of the Zionists. What people did in Egypt, Tunisia, in Libya and what are doing in Yemen and in Bahrain is part of the struggle against the tyrant dictatorship which has been exerting pressure on the humanity for the past 2 centuries. Almighty Allah emphasizes that if you help Him, He will help you. The overthrowing of the Mubarak regime, the strange events that took place in Africa, and the success of the faithful youths of Lebanon, all these events, success of the faithful youths of Lebanon against the Zionist regime and the well-equipped Zionist army. Nobody would have believed that these events would have happened, but they happened. If somebody had said that the Islamic Republic of Iran would resist 32 years against all the adversity from the east and west and become more progressively stronger, nobody would have believed, but these events happened. These victories are the signs of God. God both guides and helps and makes people achieve lofty goals, provided that we remain present in the arena. The West has planted the cancerous tumor of Zionism at the heart of Middle East and offered it all-out support to carry out its evil intentions. But the Islamic awakening in the Muslim countries, has poured water over these dreams. He advised us that this is just the beginning, and Muslims must continue in order to defeat the enemy in different arenas, and said that the side with the strongest will shall be victorious. He also advised us to live by the lofty and progressive rules of Islam. Later he complained that they have held us back in scientific terms, but today, thanks to Allah, Iranian youth have gained great success in scientific terms. He emphasized we should not underestimate our capabilities. The two biggest false and deviatory illusions they have planted, the Western culture has inflicted upon the Muslim countries are, number one, the inculcation of the inability of the Muslim nations, that they cannot do anything in the fields of science, in politics, neither in economics. And secondly, the invincibility of the might of our enemies, that we cannot defeat or drive back the US Army. And we had to forbear in confrontation with them for decades. But today we see that these are absolutely flawed concepts. He made us recall that the Muslims can move ahead and revive the majesty and magnificence of the Muslims who were once at the peak of glory, summits of science and social splendor. Later he warned us that the enemy is conspiring. They should not hijack the revolution, and told us to take lesson from the experience Iran has had. There had been no single scheme that the West and the US have refrained from, but he said victory is definite, but we all should be alert as the enemy tries to neutralize our movements and sow discord. The Islamic movements does not know Shia or Sunni or any other division for the fact. Of course, there are some differences, but there are certain common principles. That is, we all oppose the existence of the cancerous tumor Israel. Then he brought our attention to the very important issue. Whenever we feel what is being done benefits Israel, benefits the US, it is where we should be alert that the movement is an outsider's move. Whenever a move is an Islamic and anti-Zionist move, it is where the move is the right move. A basic and tangible example is that all the world's media are trying to isolate the people of Bahrain. They want to label it as the struggle between Shia and Sunni. Then later he told us that the key to continuation and victory of the movements is reliance on God. Throughout his speech, he mentioned 3 times on reliance on God, And later he suggested of unity and integrity, and said we should show resistance and perseverance and not give up. Being respectful of our differences under the banner of Islam, it is then the Muslim Ummah will find its glory. He concluded his speech by saying that we have plentiful natural resources, talented youths, talented human resources, and remarkable figures. And we should all make use of this and make efforts, and inshallah we will be able to achieve, we will be able to lead our achievements to prosperity. Thank you. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Now I would like to call on Abbas to continue with the presentation.
I would like to say thank you to our brother Hassan Buttaj for his tremendous speech. Indeed, these words of wisdoms are the signs of the light in the darkness sealed by the West. Now, once again, I will call upon Brother Tosif for his closing speech of the conference.
Again, respected audience, Assalamu alaikum. Okay. The speech from the Rabbi was followed by the Zuhr prayers, which we offered the Zuhr prayers at the Rabbi house. Then we went back to the hotel, we have the lunch, and then we came back to the convention center. The later half of the evening was divided into two halves. There were a few speeches from different members of the country, and then lastly the final declaration and few recommendations. I will be covering the few speeches which were held in the evening part, and the midnight part was the final declaration. The closing notes were by Akbar Ali Walayati. Again, he reiterated that it was a great pleasure to host this conference comprising of 1,200 plus members from 73 different countries. I will quote few of the speeches from different members. Mr. Zahuri was representing Afghan youth. I would like to quote few sentences what he said. He said that we are sending a strong message to the enemies of Wilayat Faqih that we are proud of a great leader, Imam. Sooner or later, the world will realize that this thing will march on this right path. Then there was Lamul Haq from Pakistan. He appreciated the inauguration of this conference, the hosting of this conference, and gave valuable recommendations. Few of them are what is divided into blocks of economical sector. We should fight guerrilla war and war of advanced weapons. He also recommended that we should establish Islamic Parliament that will support youth, establishment of Islamic University for youth, research centers for youth, bring scholars and scientists, and bring on your Islamic channels. He also added that West is trying to impose Islamic leaders into uprising countries, but they are actually dictators. He added that this is a very careful step. We should be, when the revolution is ended and the time is there to set up the government, we should be very choosy in selecting the right leader for us that will lead the path to the victory. In order to avoid anarchy, we must join hands. West still wants to interfere in our foreign policies, in our government affairs. He added that Islam is expressing great victories today in the world, and this is what Imam predicted. The Islamic world is becoming firewall against the counter rulers. A new energy is released, and it's a great force, and whoever lives in an Islamic nation should join hands. They should join their hands to not only support Iran, but they also support member Islamic countries. Conclude notes. final declaration was made by Dr. Akbar Ali Walayati. He recommended that, again, I will repeat all those things which were earlier said by my brothers and myself. He iterated that the Islamic revolution, when it started and the dictator is being brought down, this is the time we should not stop. This is the time when we should reorganize ourselves, we should choose the correct leaders so that we can follow the path of victories. The revolution should not be divided into blocks like Shia and Sunni. It should be the collective efforts from everyone, where we can secure the rights of oppressors, where we can lay Islamic foundations, where women can enjoy Islamic teachings, rules and regulations. And the final declaration also included that much more intention should be there that the formation of Islamic university, a global Islamic university for the youth of different Arab countries. After this final declaration, we got a chance to visit some stalls, which they were agriculture and scientific stalls that were hosted in the convention center. There we learned the economic and scientific and agricultural progress of the Iranian itself. It was great, and it was really great honor to see them. They are developing their skills, they are developing their equipments in the field of science and technology. After that, we went back to we offered the Maghriban prayer, the refreshments, and then we went back to the hotel. At the hotel, we arrived like midnight. Then there was internal hotel conference session which was held between the Malaysian and Indonesian community members, which has already been quoted by Brother Imran. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Once again, thank you to our brother Tosif. Now I would like to call upon Kumin Haji for his Ziyarat trip discussion to various places in Iran, such as Mashhad, Qom, Nishapur, Shah Abdul Azim, Behishti Zara, and Imam Khomeini and Bibi Shihir Banu.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Respected brothers, elders and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I'm here to talk about our Ziyarat trips which were offered to Qom, Mashhad, Masjid Jamkaran, Bibi Sherbanu, Shah Abdul Azim and Nishapur. I'll start with the trip to Qom first. Qom is a city which is found in the outskirts of Tehran. It is like one or 1.5 hour drive. The speciality of Qom is that Imam Raza's sister, Bibi Masumai Qom, she was buried over there after she settled down. And there's one of Imam Raza's narration which says that there's special rewards like Jannah for the ziyarat of Bibi Masumai Qom. So I just place around the photos of the trip. This was us. We went to Qom twice during the trip. Once with the whole group and once with the whole Islamic conference group, and once as the Malaysian group. This was the time where we went all together as the Islamic conference group, and we were heading to a Grand Ayatollah of Qom, which is known as Ayatollah Nuri Hamdani's place. We went to his place. He addressed us over there. You can see over here we were waiting for the Ayatollah's arrival, and here as he comes he greets the guests, and over there you can see he greets the crowd, and then he gives a speech, but unfortunately the speech wasn't translated. It was in Farsi, but we could make a bit of words which was said in Farsi, similar to Urdu. He talked about the anti-Zionist regime and all. His speech was short because Zohran prayers was just nearby. So within 15 minutes his speech was finished. Brother Hassan Botaj got an opportunity to greet the Ayatollah and shake hands with him. And then after Zohran prayers we left, and then we went by bus to Sun Hotel in Qom, where we offered lunch over there. You can see the whole Islamic conference group. They were seated in the hotel having lunch, And then here's the Malaysian group picture in Kuma outside the hotel. After the hotel, the lunch, we all walked towards Bibi Masumaikum's haram. You can see here the side views of the haram. Here is the sehen of Bibi Masumaikum's haram, and here also is another sehen. Wuzu's taken place over here in these places, but it was too cold, but some people took wuzu over there. This was the ladies section. This was another main entrance of the haram. This is the whole picture of the beautiful haram of Bibi Masumaikum. A view of the inside of the haram. This is just the inside when you go and see the zari. This is the zari of Bibi Masumaikum, and this is the cover inside the zari of Bibi Masuma. These are some of the group pictures which were taken during the evening and during the night. These were on the different days when we went as the Malaysian group, and this was on a different day as we went as the Islamic conference group. So this wraps around the trip for school. A visit to Masjid Jamkaran. Masjid Jamkaran is only, let's say, like 20 or 30 minutes from Bibi Masumaikum's haram. It was constructed on the orders of the present Imam, Imam Mehdi Sahib al-Zaman supplications and du'as are fulfilled over there. There's narrations on that. And then there's a special namaz which are 4 rakats. I'll just briefly say how fast it is. I'll fastly say how to recite it. There are 2 sets, the 2 rakats. In the first set of the namaz, you have to recite 1 time Surah Al-Mulk and 7 times Surah Qul Huwallah. You have to recite the same in the second rakat, and then there is Zikr Ruku and Zikr Sajda 7 times. And then in the second set of namaz, known as Namaz of Imam Zamana, it is like Subha prayers, and you just have to recite Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in 100 times in the first rakat. And then there is Zikr Ruku and Zikr Sajda. So we'll just gaze around Masjid Jamkaran. This was a picture of Masjid Jamkaran just as you enter. This was a picture of the tomb of the beautiful masjid. This is the alley. This is one of the biggest sehen which is under construction right now in Masjid Jamkaran. This is another beautiful view of the mosque. This is the inside view. This is our brothers posing for a photo. And this is just dua Ilas Malbala, and some other duas will be recited before entering Masjid Jamkaran. We were reciting dua over here. This is the place where Namaz Jamaat is being conducted. There was a short speech which was given by the caretaker about the mosque. After that speech, we had a group photo with the caretaker, which is over here. His picture is there in the next slide. This was the ladies group picture in the mosque. He is the caretaker. His speech was in Farsi, and it was translated by Brother Hassan, who was an Iranian. He was guiding us throughout the trip. He translated it in English. Brother Imran got the opportunity to greet the caretaker of the mosque. And this is Dr. Haidari, one of the persons who invited us to Iran for the Islamic conference. We took a picture with him inside Masjid Jamkaran. And then we went to write Ariza. You can see Brother Shamil over here writing in Ariza, Brother Hassan Botaj writing in Ariza, and then there is a whale where you can send the Ariza, and Brother Zishan over here sending his Ariza. And then we had a group photo just outside the mosque, just outside Masjid Jamkaran. And that is about Masjid Jamkaran. And now I'll talk about the trip to Mashhad, Imam Raza. After the conference finished, the organizers gave us opportunity to go visit the holy place, Mashhad. The whole Islamic conference group flew. We flew, we went with Mahan Air, we reached Mashhad, we settled down, we took a break. And then after lunch, we rested, At around, it was reaching Maghrib time, we went to the Haram. The Haram of Imam Raza has 4 big sahens. It has Sahne Jamhoor-e-Islami, it has Sahne Quds, Sahne Ayatollah Khomeini, and Sahne Azadi. And then Imam Raza's Haram has 2 tombs, the Golden Tomb and the Blue Tomb. The Golden Tomb is where Imam Raza's grave is down. He's buried over there. The Golden Tomb is the biggest symbol of Mashhad, and it has 2 golden minarets. Here is a trip of, here are the pictures of the trip to Mashhad. This is the Golden Tomb and the Golden Minaret. This is the entrance going inside to the Haram. This was while going to the original place where the Qabr was buried, which is one ground lower. This was another place of the outside the Haram. This is the same picture as this one. Sorry, black and white. This is the Zari of Imam Raza. This is the whole picture of Imam Raza's Haram with the 2 golden minarets and the golden tomb. There was so much rush all the time around the Zari of Imam Raza. We had to stay over there for at least 1 or 2 hours max just to get the clips of touching the Zari and just getting to do the Didar of the Zari. There was rush so many times. This is the alley, the pathway to walk towards the Zari. After having the ziyarat, we got the opportunity to go to the Dastar-Khan of Imam Raza. You can see here the group going to the Dastar-Khan. This was the Dastar-Khan of Imam Raza. Everybody was given a plate. After the Dastar-Khan, we had a majlis which was in Lebanese and Arabic. And you can see people here in the majlis after the Dastar-Khan. And then we were given the opportunity to stay in Mashhad. Those people who wanted to stay could stay. Those people who wanted to leave could leave Mashhad because the Islamic conference had already finished. So the Malaysian group decided to have a 5-day stay or a 6-day stay. These are some pictures. We're saying bye to our friends from all over the world. This is Dr. Jafari, one of the organizers, and he's the chairman of public service of the Islamic Republic of Iran. He's a friend from Indonesia, a friend from China, some friends from Iraq, yeah, so Indonesia. So we were just saying bye to them, and it was a really good trip to bond with them. And this is a view of the Haram during the daytime. This is the Golden Tomb. This is a place where people do a zoo. This is just a fountain which got frozen on a normal day in the Haram. That's about it for Mashhad. Now I'll talk about the other ziyarats, the outside ziyarats, which is Bahisht-e-Zahra, the tomb of Imam Khomeini, Shah Abdul Azim, Bibi Shaybani, and Nishapur. I'll start talking about Bahisht-e-Zahra. Bahisht-e-Zahra is a Qabristan where the martyrs of the Islamic Revolution during Shah's time in 1980s, they were killed and assassinated by the Zionist regime. There are more than 72 martyrs which are buried in Bahisht-e-Zahra. Some of us got the opportunity to go there, some of us didn't because we were divided. But we all got an opportunity to go to Imam Khomeini's tomb. That is a place where Imam Khomeini is buried. And the other marjas and ulamas also which are buried over there. So for a ziyarat. Shah Abdul Azim is a companion of, he is a well-respected personality known from Imam Hassan. He is a special companion of Imam Muhammad Taqi and Imam Ali Naqi. Shah Abdul Azim was sent his salams to him from Imam Ali Naqi. Imam Ali Naqi also quotes that he has the same, almost the same darja as Imam Hussein, because he was killed in a similar way. He wasn't given water, he wasn't given food. He traveled from his place to Iran and they assassinated him. And Imam Ali Naqi also says that Jannah is the reward for his ziyarah. And just next to Shah Abdul Azim, there is another Imam Zada, which is known as Imam Zada Janab Hamza. There is a tomb just next to Shah Abdul Azim. He is the son of Imam Musa ibn Jafar. And then in the same Shah Abdul Azim tomb, there is another Imam Zada Tahir. He is the son of fourth Imam. He's the fourth son of Imam Sajjad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. तमाम तारीफ़ से अल्लाह के लिए जो तमाम जहानों का पालने वाला है। शुक्र उस मालिक का जिसने हमें इस बेहतरीन मौके के लिए सेलेक्ट किया और मुझे आपके साथ अपनी तस्वीरी यादें शेयर करने का मौका दिया। मैं टॉपिक ईरान की कहानी तस्वीरों की ज़बानी। एक दिन कुमैल भाई ने सेंटर में किया ऐलान इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के बारे में। बात आगे बढ़ी, इन्विटेशन आ गया। 25 जन को कुरान के साए में घर से निकले, मलेशिया एयरपोर्ट, फिर दुबई एयरपोर्ट, देन तेहरान एयरपोर्ट। एयरपोर्ट पर कॉन्फ्रेंस के बैनर लगे हुए थे और होटल के सामने वेलकम किया। आज़ादी होटल पहुँचे, इतना बड़ा रूम, फर्स्ट क्लास बुफेट और बहुत कुछ। नेक्स्ट डे कुछ देर बाहर रहे, फिर इंट्रोडक्शन सेशन जिसकी तस्वीर इमरान भाई ने आप सबको सुना दी है। रात को हसन भाई के कमरे में दुआए कुमैल हुई। 27 जनवरी को अलग अलग ग्रुप बन गए। हसन भाई और दिशान भाई गए असलुए, जिसकी डिटेल आपको दिशान ने दी। सिस्टर इराम और शमीर गए सुहान, शमीर आपको बता चुके हैं। और बाकी बचे मैं, कुमैल हाजी भाई, एंड अब्बास, इमरान एंड तौसीफ भाई। हम गए मिलाद टावर, डिटेल्स आपने सुनी तौसीफ भाई से। और इमाम खुमैनी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह के मज़ार। इस अजीम इंसान को हमारा सलाम। 29 जनवरी असल कॉन्फ्रेंस का दिन। प्रेसिडेंट महमूद नजात की स्पीच तफसील दे चुके हैं शमीर। और भी लोगों ने स्पीचेस की। 30 जनवरी मेरी ज़िंदगी का बहुत अहम दिन। रहबर खामनेई के सामने खड़े होकर उनकी तकरीर सुनी। डिटेल आप हसन भाई से सुन ही चुके हैं। सब ने रहबर की आवाज़ पर लगकर कहा, मिलने की कोशिश भी, मगर इतना फासला था, वो मेरा हाथ और ये रहबर का हाथ। वापस कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है, तफसीर दे चुके हैं तो तौसीफ भाई। हाँ ये किबला फरमा रहे थे कि तालिबान का साथ देना चाहिए। यहाँ भी खूब नारे लगाए,
नामंजूर
इस्राईल नामंजूर।
ये हमारे अपने ग्रुप लीडर के साथ कॉन्फ्रेंस खत्म, ज़्यादा शुरू। सबसे पहले फोन, मासूमा के दर पर दुआ। कुमैल हाजी भाई से डिटेल आप सुन ही चुके हैं। इसी दिन हज़रत अब्दुल्लाह नूरी हमदानी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह के दफ्तर में उनसे मुलाकात की। मस्जिद जमकरान पहुँचे। सब लोगों ने अरीज़े लिखे, मौला की खिदमत में भेज दिए। मशहद रवानगी, मौला का हरम, मौला की जरी और सख्त सर्दी, मौला का दस्तरखान, बीबी शहरबानो सलामुल्लाह अलैह की जानिब सफ़र, गार और पहाड़, फिर शहज़ादा अब्दुल अज़ीम अलैहिस्सलाम की रोज़े पर हाज़िरी। निशापुर, जिंदा मुअज़्ज़ा, मौला के निशान कदम, आपका जारी किया हुआ चश्मा, तौसीफ भाई को उतरा हुआ चश्मा। थोड़ी बहुत तकरीर भी की। इतना बड़ा एप्पल, तेहरान आर्ट गैलरी, कुछ लोगों से मुलाकात रही। डॉक्टर हैदरी, डॉक्टर जाफरी, चाइना के इलियास भाई, इंडोनेशिया के पाब्लो मोरे और ट्यूनीशिया के मोहम्मद बातूर और ईरान के फौजी। वापसी में सामान बढ़ गया। मशहद से तेहरान, फिर खैर से मलेशिया में हमारा मरकज़, हमारी पहचान, हमारा फख्र, अल-मुवद्दत सेंटर। सलाम अल-मुवद्दत सेंटर। शुक्रिया कुमैल भाई, आप हमारे साथ गए नहीं लेकिन फिर भी हमारे साथ रहे। कहानी ख़त्म, बट एज रहबर खामनेई said, this is not the end, this is only the beginning. Thank you. Now I would like to call my companions for this very special things. Come, please, Tawfiq bhai, Hasan bhai.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
شکریہ مجھ کو مشہد بلا کر کیا محترم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ آپ کا ہے کرم مٹ گئے سارے غم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ پھر خراسان کی رونقیں دیکھ لی نور اور نور کی وسعتیں دیکھ لی ٹل گئی موت اور آ گیا دم میں دم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ رد یہاں کوئی بھی بات ہوتی نہیں تو اس کے شہر میں رات ہوتی نہیں روشنیوں میں ڈوبا ہے سارا حرم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ علم و عرفان کا شہر ہے شہر قم یہ ثقیفہ نہیں ہے یہ بزم ہم یہاں علی والے آئے نظر ہر قدم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ اس زمین پر اتر آئے ہیں کہکشاں عرض مشہد کو کہتے ہیں جنت نشاں نیشا پور آپ کے جا کے چومے قدم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ خامنائی کا سایہ سلامت رہے یہ سلامت رہے تا قیامت رہے آپ کا وہ نمائندہ محترم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ سال آئندہ پھر ہم کریں یہ سفر پھر سے جائیں گے ہم مولا مشہد اگر آپ رکھ لیں ہماری دعا کا بھرم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ آپ کے در سے پلتے ہیں سب لے کے توصیف عمران حسن حاجی گمیل آباد ذیشانوں کمیل شمیر و الہم شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ شکریہ یا امام رضا شکریہ اللہم صلی علی محمد بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم اللہم کل ولیک حجت ابن الحسن صلواتک علیہ وعلی آبائہ فی هذه الساعة فی کل ساعة ولیا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودلیلا وعینا حتی تسکنه ارضک طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد لبیک یا خامنائی لبیک خامنائی